This is the setup and playthrough of Hack Attack Defense, a fast to learn game that'll teach you how to protect your tech from cyber attack. Within the game itself, you'll have your instructions and 2 decks of cards, tech cards and defense cards. At the beginning of the setup, shuffle your tech cards and deal 4 to each player. And this setup will just do a 2-player game. You then take the tech cards and create the tech row by revealing the top 3 cards. Each player then will place their tech cards face up in front of them in view of everybody playing. Once that is done, with the defense deck, you'll need to remove all user error and attack cards from the deck for setup. These will be shuffled in later during the game. Once those have been removed, you can shuffle the defense deck and deal 4 cards face down to each person playing. After the hands have been dealt, reveal the top 5 cards of the defense deck, and then shuffle back in the attack and user error cards. Once the user error and attack cards have been shuffled back into the defense deck, play will begin with the player who most recently encountered a scam. Share your brief story and then begin. The way that you protect your tech cards, each tech card has a value up top, signifying the difficulty to protect it, as well as its risk to cyber attacks. And it'll also have a list of defenses that are required to protect it, and then the specific cyber attacks that would target those tech cards specifically. On your turn, you have 2 actions you can take. You can either acquire a new tech card. You can't ever have more than 4, but if an attacker steals it later down the road, you can refill that gap, or if you ever want to, you could swap out one of the tech cards for one that you have, if perhaps you have the right combination of defense cards in order to protect against that new card. So that's action 1. The second type of action you can take is to secure a defense card into your hand. And in this case, you would look to see what tech cards you have and if any match. In this case, I don't have any defenses on my tech cards that match with what is there. And so I can also take from the top of the defense row to see if that will help. In this case, it doesn't. I drew a user error card. You can read it out loud for everybody. Sketchy QR code. You scan a QR code on a flyer without thinking whether it's fake. Now, in order to prevent this user error, I have to have a card that matches this symbol. In this case, it's a social engineering card. So I look through my hand, I have a Vishing Vigilant, which matches, if you look at the top of the card, it matches user error, which means I prevent it from happening to me. However, it then gets passes to the next player in turn order. So player 2 will then pull their hand out, and they will also have to show whether or not they can protect against it. In this case, they can. So the user error card then gets discarded. If one of us weren't able to protect against it, we would keep it in front of us, and it would score us -1 points at the end of the game. All right, so, and that card itself does not count as one of my actions. I still have the opportunity to draft 2 cards into my hand. So we will go again at the top of the deck. Smishing Smasher, that is 1, and I still get a second action. I'm gonna go again, and a Fishing Spotter. All right, so now I can look at my cards. I have the Smishing Smasher, so I'm going to go ahead and protect that. This is a free action, and then I can set it face down to the side, and because I protected a tech card, I can then draw freely a new one to replace it. In this case, they're not going after a cloud backup, so it could be possible that this cloud backups might be a good one to collect, and maybe I can collect that next time. I refill the tech row. That was my second action, and now I have more than 4 cards. The hand limit is 4, and so I need to discard one of my cards onto one of the cards in the defense row. This is I would normally look at the other players' cards to see if they're going after any of these. It doesn't look like it, so in this case, I'll just take one that I don't need, and we'll block that one there. And that's the end of my turn. So then it goes to player 2. They are in need of nothing that's right here, and they don't have anything in their hand. So they're also going to draw from the top of the row. They don't need that one. And they have a user error card, Wi-Fi name trickery. You connect to home Wi-Fi 2, which isn't yours, but closely resembles it. They show everyone that they have a home network card that can protect against it, so they don't fall susceptible to it. However, I have one as well, so this one also gets discarded and no one is penalized. So they then draw their second card, and then they need to discard 2. So they see that I'm needing this cloud backups card, so they're gonna block the cloud backups, and they don't need this one either. Okay, so they're down to 4, they're okay. It's back to my turn. I'm going to draw the settings review so that I can get to that cloud backups card. So that was one action, and this would be my second action. Now, one of the cards we haven't discussed yet is the reality check card. If you notice, there are no gray bubbles, defense bubbles on the cards. This gray reality check is a wild and can be used in place of any defense card. So in this case, I can use the reality check to stand in for the multi-factor authentication on my password manager vault, along with the cloud backups, and I can turn that face down to secure it, to lock it down, and then I can acquire a new tech card. And I'll go with this one because it matches one of the cards that I have in my hand. And then I refill this card before we flip over to the next player's turn. Since it's the end of my turn, but it's refilling a card I took, this card is still applies to me. And in this case, I do not have a password category card. And so I then keep this, and that will be a -1 towards the end of my end of game score. All right, we're gonna speed this up. Okay, it is now player 2's turn. They have a guest Wi-Fi, but they still need a don't overshare to protect that one. They don't have any other cards. So they're gonna try their luck at drawing from the top of the defense row. And in this case, there is an attack. This attack is an identity theft attack. Someone uses your personal info to open accounts or take out loans in your name. Now, if they have any identity theft tech cards that are not protected, they immediately lose those. So in this case, their online tax account lists identity theft as one of the attacks that target it. So this tech card gets lost, it gets discarded. And now the attack spreads across the board, and each player must put down a card in front of them to try to defend against the far reaches of this attack. And the card that they put down should try to match one of the icons on the card. If they don't have it, they put down any card that is in their hand. So in this case, player 2 will place that card down, and I only have one card that matches, so I would place this one. And in a 2-player game, you only need to match one of the categories. In a 3 or 4-player game, you need to match any 2 of the categories, and if you're playing with 5 or 6 people, all 3 categories need to be matched. Everyone reveals their defense cards at the same time. In this case, we more than surpassed it since both of us had it, and the attack is defeated, and that gets discarded. We both then get our cards back, and game returns normal. So player 1 still is trying to get their first card. They draw this one. They're gonna draw one more. And in this case, they can secure their pet tracker with the Vigilant defense card. They'll place that face down, and it is now protected from further attacks. Game continues in this fashion until the first player has protected 4 tech cards. Once one of the players has protected a 4th tech card, all players get one last turn, and after everyone has completed their turns, they then score their total protected tech cards, subtract any user error cards that they missed during the game, and calculate their final score. Highest score is the winner, and the cyber expert that can teach other people how to be more secure. In the game, if a reality check card appears in the defense row, it requires 2 actions to secure this defense into your hand. So you've already taken one card previously. Let's just say I take this device settings review into my hand. A reality check gets revealed. I cannot take this one because I've already taken one action, and I am forced to take a different action. The reality checks can be used to defend against both attacks and user errors. They can stand in for any defense card at any point. And the point of this card is that this reality check really is a superpower in the real world in defending against attacks. If you can think clearly and be in a good state of mind, this defense really is your silver bullet. In Hack Attack Defense, there are a variety of ways to alter the game to increase the speed, increase the simplicity, and tailor it to your needs. And these variants are noted in the instructions in italics with a small solid bar to the left. So we'll look at each of those and explain how they work. So the first one reads, for a simpler game, reduce the number of attack and user error cards in play. So at the beginning, when you are setting up the game, you're removing all attack and user error cards. There are 8 of each in the deck, which can get a little chaotic, which for some may be fun, for others it may be a little too much. So if you want, you could reduce it by removing a couple of them before shuffling them back into the deck. Variant number 2, for a faster game, allow players to protect any number of tech cards on their turn. Normally during the game, you're allowed to protect 1 tech card during your turn, and that can help pace the game to at a slower pace. If you'd like a quicker run through, players can protect as many as they can on a single turn. And the third and final variant is during an attack. For a 2-player game, both players need to come up with at least one defense card that matches the category. In 3 or 4 players, you need at least 2 icons to protect against the attack, and in a 5 or 6 player game, you need to have all 3 present. This can be changed to make it more difficult or simpler. So in a 2-player game, if you want to have more than just one, you could say that you need at least 2 of them, and maybe in a 3-player game, you need all 3. And that can increase the intensity of the attack and also increase the likelihood of loss of a tech card. And those are the 3 variants to help tailor the game to your speed and pace and complexity level, and I hope you have fun.